Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Friday, November 7th, 2025. I'm going to have my regular news podcast today. Oh my gosh, I think the Democrats are now pulling whatever hair left out of their clone bodies or body doubles or whatever. I want to thank you so much for joining us on santasurfing.locals.com. And I do want to just let you know all of my daily shows, links. I share this all the time, guys, because I got posers popping up, and I just don't want you to get caught up in any of their scams. Please. I only have one account for each of these accounts here. YouTube, I have this inspirational videos, futuristic, Nasara Jasara, and previous videos are on Rumble. I had some sweet people that were just saying, hey, Santa, how can I support you and your show? We just have a couple of new items. We're going to be adding more for Christmas season, but we've got these really cute Merry MAGA Christmas mugs with President Trump and Melania Trump. So they're really cool. They have different sizes of 15, 11, 15, and 20 ounce mugs. The election results 2 nights ago, I think a lot of people were just in shock, and MAGA got a little frustrated. And I was like, oh man, we got to remember there are 18 different ways that President Trump, the team, the administration can get to the number 4. We went through that the other day on the last podcast. He doesn't use your traditional route. What equals 4? 2 plus 2, right? Without any subtractions, there are many ways to get to the number 4. So I was asking, did illegal aliens vote on Tuesday night? There's no way several Democrats won on Tuesday night. Well, I had to share this. That was a little trap, okay? Now, please understand, I use AI, and I'll tell you, it's saving me hours. I use a lot of Grok, and I use Brave AI when Brave AI and I are wrestling with each other. So somebody was saying, well, isn't that they might be concerned. Remember, AI has gone through a lot of transitions. So Grok is really, really working on being more neutral than some of the other AIs. I don't use Google AIs or Chat GPT or whatever it's called. Okay, so Bella Starr posted this in response to that cat on the trap. This guy, okay? You did a chap, all right? So this is what Bella Starr posted. She said she asked AI about that post. This AI is very liberal. The post speculates that non-citizens voting enables surprising Democrat wins on November 4, 2025 elections, referring to the gif of a cat leaping on a box to depict Trump's alleged traps for catching fraud. Okay, no, it's a little bit bigger than this, guys. So I probably should take that post down because I think it's a little bit more ginormous. You all crack me up. Okay, so the title of this post is The New York City Mayor Trap. So it begins. There's a lot I got to cover today. So I'm going to update you on what's been happening recently, and then the medical announcement that was made yesterday as well. And then, of course, President Trump and his strong messages that he has. I'm going to cover the medical first on my article page. My hosting company was not very nice to me today. So everything I put out, that's why I'm a little late in getting this out. But so the medical part is in the middle of the article page, and then I'll go up from here. Okay, so President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, they announced healthcare to improve our health and our weight. They were talking about the level of obesity. Now, remember, a lot of our foods in America has been processed, and Bobby Kennedy has been doing everything he can to get it back to where we were before all these processed foods started to affect our health. They were all in cahoots with each other. The food companies, get them sick, have them eat these plastic particles and whatever they process their foods with, or crickets or whatever, that crazy stuff, to getting them to the hospital, getting them to be reliant on the medical industry or the pharmaceutical industry so that they have to constantly take drugs. Do you see the vicious cycle where it's going, right? Now, and then, of course, the insurance companies as well. My opinion only, but that's how I see this. So President Trump, he announced healthcare to improve our health and weight. Now, he was talking about a particular drug, but what Bobby Kennedy is referring to is he's referring to having a weight plan, a health plan. Not necessarily, so people that may not have, they may not be overweight, but their bodies just might not be as healthy because they're not exercising. He's trying to find a way to help improve our health and to control the weight and to help with that. which is so amazing because, oh man, I'll tell you, when we were in, I don't know if you remember, but when we were in elementary, middle, and high school back in the day, we had to be active playing out in the yard, running, basketball, football, baseball, whatever, softball, right? We had to do different kinds of activities. So that's what he's trying to do. Remember back in September, President Trump, Bobby Kennedy, Dr. Oz, they all also introduced leucovorin, and that was introduced to help children with autism. They were talking about the effects of acetaminophen, and this is a Laura Ingraham post, and it was we warned on Tylenol, but also approved leucovorin for children with severe autism who have doctors report dramatic improvements. I've shared a few of those videos. You can listen to this here. I just wanted to have that for your reference. But again, so many adults say, well, I don't have an autistic child, but I definitely would like a replacement, because if that's the case, I'm just letting you know what I use for my pain, with all the surgeries I've had. How many surgeries have I had since I've started podcasting? 4 major surgeries, right? And then a couple of little minor ones. Okay, Pain Absolve is what I use. It's a natural supplement made in the United States. They've been in business for 25 years. People go back to Pain Absolve over and over and over again because it works. They can take it and not have to worry about handling heavy machinery, because it doesn't make you drowsy, but it does take away a lot of the pain. So just kind of giving you that as a solution. But both announcements were discussions of reducing the drug pricing. And even President Trump was saying as much as 500%. Well, if you have a 500% reduction in drug prices, that would put it into the negatory comment category, right? Or is he also giving us a calm? Would it be Q500? It starts with DEFCON 1, 41020. Again, DJT, Fire and Fury, 9 states of class ready to go live, 34 commands, live codes, command action, non-nuclear, 1L1Q. Again, these are like right here, military, I guess, codes of action. Remember, they were the bad people were looking at Q posts, the military were looking at Q posts, trying to, they had to figure it all out. Okay, so now let's get to the 9. When they say 9 states, 9 in parentheses, isn't there a SCOTUS ruling coming up? And that would be for the 19 GOP seats because of the redistricting. And then also the tariff ruling that's supposed to be coming up. So kind of thinking out loud. Okay, now let's get to Zoltar. I call him Zoltar, guys. I always have nicknames, but somebody posted the Zoltar, that machine you have at circuses, and you put in a quarter and you get your little fortune telling thingy, whatever. Okay, so Vincent Kennedy posted, you can't be a player unless you IMDb. Okay, IMDb is a place where actors put their profile. It's like a Grokpedia for actors. Okay, look at Zoltar's names there, Zohran, Mandani. Okay, so kind of letting you know, guys, again, how things are playing out. Says he's a director, actor, and a writer. This is where it's going to get really interesting. Loser Barry, I'm going to have to refer to, because Zoltar has, and President Trump said this, he has communist ties. He is a communist. He's bypassed the socialistic side and he went straight to communism. So and people voted for him, guys. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just kind of go back a little bit. I know you don't want to hear clips, but this might help you have a better understanding of why, especially the New York race, why that happened. How could that have ever happened? Loser Barry, which is Obama, admits to his Muslim faith. These are clips I'm going to share with you. It also talks about training ISIL, which is a terrorist organization. And President Trump took down the fugitive ISIS leader earlier this year. Let me play these 3 clips. It's very short, and then collectively. And then we'll tie it all in a nice big bow.
What I was suggesting, you're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith. And you're absolutely right that has not come at my Christian faith. And as I've said before, this aspect of our strategy was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
A brutal killer, one who has caused so much hardship and death, has violently been eliminated. He will never again harm another innocent man, woman, or child. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. The world is now a much safer place. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. He was whimpering, screaming, and crying. And frankly, I think it's something that should be brought out so that his followers and all of these young kids that want to leave various countries, including the United States, they should see how he died. He didn't die a hero. He died a coward, crying, whimpering, screaming, and bringing 3 kids with him to die.
And then Newsmax, Greg Kelly, he was talking to Congressman Ogles. Again, I'm going to get the bow ready for your little present, guys. The Ginsu knife. He talks about Zoltar or Mandani's citizenship misrepresentation. Ogles is taking it directly to the DOJ, not the House floor, the DOJ. Check this out.
And he actually joins us now from a actual moving car. That's a busy politician right there. Congressman, good to have you on. You say Mandani should be, you have a letter to Attorney General Mandani demanding an investigation into whether Mandani should be subject to denaturalization proceedings on the grounds that he may have procured U.S. citizenship through willful misrepresentation or concealment of material support for terrorism. Give us your claim here, sir.
Well, so part of the process when you fill out the naturalization forms, which, here's a copy of one here, is you've got to disclose your activities. So like communism, anti-American activities. And so in 2018, when he was naturalized, he failed to disclose some of the things that he had been doing, one of which was joining the Democrat Socialists of America. That's a communist organization, which quite frankly, at that time, would have disqualified him from becoming a United States citizen. So what we're encouraging to do is the Justice Department to look into the timing of his joining that organization. It would have been anti-American. It would have fit the definition of what he would have been required to disclose, and quite frankly, would have made him most likely ineligible to become a naturalized citizen. So if that's true, then the process could begin of him being denaturalized. Now, that being said, even if we can't prove or dot the I's and cross the T's and get this guy on this, it creates the template for these other individuals who come to this country. They're sleeper cells. They want to undermine our way of life. They want to take advantage of our generosity. Enough is enough. Look, I'm a proud American. I love my country, love my flag, I love my God, and I love my family. And I'm tired of us being taken advantage of by the rest of the world.
We know Loserberry wasn't born in America. He says he is. Zoltar, same thing. Okay, Zoltar got naturalized. Did you know DHS, they are deporting those that do get naturalized if they do things that are wrong? Like a lot of them interfere with ICE activity, and they ended up committing. Well, were they acts of domestic terroristic threats, right? Were they a part of Antifa? Because that's a domestic terroristic organization. Do you see where this is all going? This is the biggest one, a very, very big trap. So this is a reply on Grok. Somebody had talked about different type of things, but they were talking about deportation. Grok says, deportation targets non-citizens, not Americans protected by the Constitution. However, for naturalized citizens convicted of terrorism or fraud, denaturalization proceedings already exist, as in cases against ISIS sympathizers. You see where I'm going? So you got Zoltar, and then maybe Loserberry comes back and says, well, again, the Loserberry 2.0. Well, I got naturalized and I still was a citizen when I was the president. Okay, whatever. Do they need to set this precedent now? Because, that TDS group, they're not quite all upstairs when it comes to the justice that's ready to unravel whenever it unravels, whether it's tomorrow, next month, a year, I don't know, whenever it unravels. But will the denaturalization for people like Zoltar, because if he did lie and he didn't say he had any ties to any kind of terroristic organizations, if he lied about that, that's committing fraud, right? And then he's like part of a terrorist group. So there you go, get him denaturalized and get him sent back to wherever. Put him into exile, as Tom Homan would say, or Stephen Miller would say. So you get somebody like a Zoltar, no-name person a year ago, suddenly rises to the top, gets the votes, allegedly. Did illegals also vote for him, right? Are they going to set these Trump traps? President Trump does not seem worried at all. He was very confident ever since the election night. He hasn't really touched on any of it. You know he's going to go there eventually. But was the New York City mayor election setting precedent? Maybe Obama, Loser Barry, the brother lover Ilhan, and other sleepers are actually freaking out that Zoltar won the election because it rises him front and center into the spotlight. And then if he goes down because of his communist ties, will he get stripped of his citizenship, then deported? Ilhan, same thing. Loser Barry, same thing. Remember, there was that Q post at one point. Loser Barry's going to claim Kenya as his citizenship. And then guess what? Kenya's going to say, we don't want you. Get out of here. Right? Again, they're not doing very well. If in the again, trying to think like Trump. That's why I had to do a couple different types of podcasts. Guys, yesterday, one yesterday, just because I really needed to wrap my head around the way Trump thinks. So again, guys, we are going to start seeing a lot of things unraveling. When it happens, I don't know. How it happens, have no idea. Again, we just have to just trust in God in all of this. But White House is even going there. Let me show this to you. You can click on here on the photo. This is the White House page, okay? This is, oh my gosh, this is so big. It's about the White House, all right? And you go down here to these pages, East Wing expansion stages, view ballroom renderings below, major events timeline. Now, I went through this before, but I want to go through it again so you can kind of get an idea. We're talking about design plans commence, and that was in 1791 to 1800, and then in the rebuilding after war of 1812, how they burned down the White House. And then how you have, addition to the portico, north portico, addition to the West Wing, addition to the Oval Office. Oh my gosh. Okay. So those are all addition to the briefing room, addition to the West Wing, East Wing, and then boom, they have the Bill Clinton scandal. And then they have this Muslim Brotherhood visit. Loser Barry hosted members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that promotes Islamic terrorism, extremism, and has ties to Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood is a designated terrorist organization by nearly a dozen nations, all but here. Hopefully President Trump will announce that. Do you see where this is going with the Zoltar winning, right? This is going to expose people like Ilhan, like Loserberry, guys. And they put this in the timeline events, dead smack in the middle. If you keep going on these timeline events, they even have Hunter Biden with the cocaine. They have how Joe Biden had tranny day at the White House on the 4th of July, guys. And then they go back to the renovations. So they're just dropping because the liberals, the TDSers, they're going in here too, and they're going, what? Huh? Right? So in my humble opinion, that is the trap. That is the trap, so that let them go ahead and run wild. Let him start saying around maybe the holidays, we are not going to be celebrating Christmas. We are going to have Muslims out on the streets. You are going to bow down to Sharia law. Can you imagine? And all the voters are going to sit there and go, what? That's what I think. My humble opinion might happen before, and then he might just get stripped, and then he might of his citizenship and get kicked back and go back to the country that he came from. Now, Nancy, on a different subject, I'm switching gears from the drunk to the dork. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I know she's probably not right, but I'm just gonna go there, guys. I don't want to hold back. President Trump, he went out there. He went there. He said, Nancy Pelosi, the old and broken political hack who impeached me twice and lost, is finally calling it quits. She illegally made a fortune in the stock market, ripped off the American public, and was a disaster for America. I'm glad to see the stench of Nancy Pelosi go. Oh my gosh. Again, we love seeing President Trump travel overseas because there's just royalty and just professionalism and all grace and glamour and getting things done. And then he comes back here and he's got to deal with these hacks. And it's like, he's got to go down to their level to communicate. And then this is where the dork comes in. Some of you may not, I'm not in here to have a fan club, guys. I just want to share this with you. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's gone full tilt crazy, guys. Full tilt. Back in 2022, well, let me just play this clip. She's just kind of a hypocrite now. She all of a sudden is from like, I'm going to get that BITCH out of Congress. By the way, there is a cuss word in here, one cuss word. And then she goes into praising Nancy Pelosi. Check this out.
I just want to say to Nancy Pelosi, she's a hypocrite. She's an anti-American, and we're going to kick that bitch out of Congress.
However, I will praise Nancy Pelosi. She had an incredible career for her party. I served under her speakership in my first term of Congress, and I'm very impressed at her ability to get things done. I wish we could get things done for our party like Nancy Pelosi was able to deliver for her party. So I wish her well in her retirement.
What in freak tarnation is that all about? And again, if she is playing the whatever, the role, whatever she's got to play, I don't know, is President Trump just trying to make light of how really, again, how the swamp runs so deep, right? And then how Ogles was talking about their sleeper cells, right? Were they sleepers? Il Donato didn't stop. He continued on. You know how he's got all these humorous posts out there? There's always truth to his humorous post. Check this out.
Nancy Pelosi has been a true inspiration for me. I mean, she made millions with insider trading just like me. She's a Democrat just like me. She's a backstabbing.
That was AI generated, guys. Just want to let you know. But you know, President Trump, he puts that out there for a reason. So let's see where this is going to go. Then we got a couple of Q deltas that kind of ties into things we talked about this week. Before I get to that, I just wanted to clarify that I am not about praising money, we all want to use our money wisely, and there's a parable in the Bible about a wealthy man who gave his money to 3 of the people that worked for him, and he rewarded the 2 that made investments, and then the one that didn't make investments, he actually just sat on it and put it under his mattress, if you will, so he punished that person. And I'm not saying that one will get punished for doing that. It's not about there is no love for money. There's more of a, how can you make the most with what you have is more my message. And that's always been my case, guys. So just giving you clarification on that. The messages that we were reading and going through this past week have been very, very helpful to help us understand the importance of this huge revolution that's coming, because it ties into these Q deltas. First of all, the previous was deleted. Curious. Okay, this is posted twice. This is Q126. Delta is November 7th. Now, I'll go to this site called qanon.pub, and that gave answers to many of those first initial Q posts. So the Q post is plus, 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 the next line plus, plus, the next line plus Q. Now the answers, and it was so helpful using this in the very beginning, the plus, 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 the 3 main families that have the most power in the world, Saudi, Rothschild, Soros. Plus, plus, plus equals Saudi. We've already got a relationship with Saudi Arabia. Plus, plus, Rothschild, Jacob Rothschild, he bit the dust, right? Plus is Soros, right? So is that the next person going down? And is Soros a big part of that Zoltar winning and all the other Democrats that won, right? And we know that Soros, he was getting U.S. aid money and he was funding these riots and protesters and the ones that are anti-ICE right now. So is he the last one? This is the next Delta, November 7th. It's Q127. The graphic is your key. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threads. Hello. Okay. Was the money worth it? This was meant a direct message to the bad people that were reading Q posts. Was the money worth it? It's like, man, just going there, right? And then it ends with Titanic. Now remember, the bad financial people that started the Federal Reserve, those quote unquote once upon a time elites, they went through great lengths to get rid of people that wanted to destroy their financial system. There were actually, I think 5, but these 3 millionaires were a part of, they were invited. Come, join us on the Titanic. It's a beautiful ship. It's just awesome. JP Morgan was invited and bailed out at the last minute because he didn't have a lot of money back then and he wanted to be one of the big players. So he went ahead and joined the Federal Reserve. So you've got Astor, you have Strauss, and you have Hayes. They're all 3 millionaires, which would be equivalent to billionaires in today's world. These 3 wanted to stop the financial slavery system from coming into play. It was already quietly in the works, and they must have caught wind of it because this person right here, Strauss, he used to be a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. So, he probably got message or information. They probably sat and said, why don't we go on the ship together? We could talk about how we can prevent that from happening. And then instead of that, they ended up sinking the Titanic. That's the great lengths that they will go through to destroy, ruining their system. That's why all the posts I've been doing earlier this week, guys, I really want you to get an understanding of how it worked and why it's important, why it was important for you to be a part of this whole revolution. And again, they will go through great lengths to prevent what you and I and all of us are talking about and getting the people, get out of slavery situation, revolution into play. So yeah, is it going to get ugly? Probably. Again, the Democrats shut down. The Democrats are even getting fed up. This is posted by Senate Republicans. Listen to what this person says here. He's a podcaster, and he talks about his audience is a little diverse, but listen to what he says.
I have a very eclectic listening crowd. I'm even having some Democrats who are coming on, and they're seeing through a lot of the minutia of what's really happening because they can do the math. They notice that there are 55 votes that are voting and to open the government, and they don't see a lot of Democrats on that side. And so they're saying open up the government and open it up now. Chuck Schumer, not Donald Trump.
So that is coming directly from a podcaster that has he's mainly talking about Detroit, and he's got a very, very diverse, eclectic, as he calls it, audience. And the Democrats are now saying Chuck Schumer needs to open up the government. COO of American Airlines is getting a little nervous. He's saying we need to get the government reopened. We need to get the aviation system back. Aviation is super critical to this nation. No, duh. And they're saying this too because they're hitting their busiest travel big season, right? And they would love to have that business coming through. But again, the Democrats have to open up the government. Rapid Response is talking about how the air traffic controllers, I'm jumping right down here, they're missing 2 paychecks already. And a lot of air traffic controllers are scrambling for new jobs or just staying at home when they can't afford gas or daycare. That's how critical it is becoming. Now, if you are traveling and you get canceled, you can bet, I haven't been to the airport, guys, since the closure, but you can bet that they're not saying on the loudspeaker, if your flight got canceled today, please come to the desk and we will give you a refund. I don't think the airlines are going to mention that, but remember, this is coming from the Department of Transportation site. Word for word from the DOT site, it says, in the following situations, consumers are entitled to a refund of the ticket price. Canceled flight, consumer is entitled to a refund if the airline canceled a flight, regardless of the reason, and the consumer chooses not to travel or accept travel credits, vouchers, or other forms of compensation. Scheduled schedule change, significant delay. A consumer is entitled to a refund if the airline significantly delays a flight or significantly changes a flight, and the consumer chooses not to travel with credits, vouchers, or other forms of compensation. Again, you can go straight to the DOT site, but there it is right there, what I just read to you. But it makes me wonder, is there something that's going to be happening that they want to kind of limit the travel a little bit, right? So President Trump, he's right now on the path of making big changes since this government is shut down, and the Democrats are not willing to bend. They want to get their 1.5 trillion for their illegals, period. That's it. They're not fighting for you. They're fighting for the illegals. Again, I repeat myself like a broken record. Sorry about that, but I did want to go ahead and let you know that President Trump, he means business, but he's got something else brewing. Trump demands that the Senate votes on ending the filibuster, nuclear option. Here's 3 posts that he had posted. Republicans terminate the filibuster and bring back the American dream. If you don't do it, the Dems will, and you'll never see office again. President DJT. Then he posted, just say no, N-O, meaning nuclear option, terminate the filibuster. And then he posted again, if Republicans kill the filibuster, they sail to victory for many years to come. If they don't, disaster awaiting to happen. Now, come on, Congress. So I was just sitting there going, what in the world, other than the OBB bill, and that wouldn't have passed had President Trump not pulled in the 19 Republicans that voted against it and said, what the heck is wrong with you people, right? It's like he has to be Papa Daddy, Daddy Trump. Come on. Aren't you guys adults going into office and being elected? Come on, Congress. Just get off your you-know-what and start doing your job. I have no more faith in Congress. They say, they filed an impeachment on the Judge Borsberg. The dude's like a total, whatever. And he presided over one of Trump's cases, but it doesn't mean anything anymore. I used to get excited. It's like, woohoo, that's going to happen. It's like, nah, I'll wait until they start the proceedings, and then I'll really start talking about it. Nothing. And then you got MTG, who's all of a sudden flipping a switch. We were listening to her, and I actually thought she was a good person. I did. And then when I was watching her, and I thought, what? All right, so things are beginning to, unravel, become obvious. And President Trump, is he making it clear that it's really the Trump team that makes the difference? And the Trump administration, his cabinet, that's making the difference, not the Congress. Because Congress, they're not, come on, they can't. I don't know. I don't get it. So President Trump, he had a briefing today. Viktor Orban came in to meet with President Trump at the White House. And of course, you know how he is. He gets his cabinet in there and he has a presser. So he hints on major victories that could be achieved if Republicans terminate the filibuster. Voter ID, no mail-in voting, ending no cash bail, no welfare for illegals. It doesn't make any sense that a Republican would not want to do that. But he's exposed one person on Congress, not on the Senate side, but on the Congress side. How many others are like that? And on both sides. Speaking about adding to his team, you all know that Dan Scavino has been selected to bring in people into the Trump White House, the Trump team. This is what he posted today. If you're going for a great new job opportunity, it would help not to be an a-hole on the phone thinking you've got the job because of who you know on the inside. I don't care. Treat people the way you wish to be treated, respectful and kind. No need to be blank and arrogant. Now, I know Dan doesn't have this much time, but I love the fact that he's screening them over the phone just like this, because can you imagine they're saying, do you know who I am? Do you know I know President Trump? You know I know this person? Well, okay. So Dan's really pinpointing, don't be arrogant. Don't be a jerk. My thought is this, Dan, could you please maybe have them come in for an interview and then have them do sing the YMCA while doing the Trump dance as part of the interview process, and then you can go ahead and send them out and have them pound sand. Maybe you can do that, Dan. That would be awesome. But President Trump did post this, and so it begins. He posted this on Election Day, on Tuesday, and so it begins. So what is beginning? What's going to happen? I don't know. I'm just going to be sitting here eating my popcorn, watching everything play out. I'm going to focus on my dreams and my goals, guys, and still look forward to what God has planned for me, us, you, ahead. We are seeing the evolution from the Federal Reserve coming back to powering us, we the people. Are they going to try to do some version of a Titanic on us? Again, are they going to do something? Are they going to try something? And do we have to be ready for being on the war path one last time in order to roll out what is on its way? So when President Trump is saying that, he's got many messages, many anons are posting some great stuff to that, but let's see how it all plays out. In the meantime, I encourage you to please keep your focus on your dreams. Dream big, really big. If you've already accomplished your dream, dream bigger, dream bigger. And also to just remember those that need prayer. On the YouTube comment, Bill Cheshire Jr. posted, sister, which is he's referring to me, would you and the people on here who feel led to do this, would you pray for my missionary journey to England? Of course, we will. And I like to pray silently. I absolutely, I love the fact that you have a calling to go to England, a very liberal area, and do your mission, and God will be with you. But yes, absolutely. And for those that are listening, to keep Bill Cheshire in your prayers as he's on this incredible mission, a calling from God. But you have your calling from God, your purpose, and many of you are, okay, who can I inspire next? Who can I go ahead and reply to and encourage them? Who can I? And then some of you are like this saying, okay, when is something going to happen? When's the swamp going to get jumped? We got lots of reason to be like this little puppy saying, okay, come on, hurry. All right, but that's the beauty of you and how we're all snowflakes and we're all different, but we're all looking at the same picture. We're just looking at different parts of the picture. I see the ocean, you see the palm tree, somebody sees the mountains, somebody sees the squirrel on the surfboard. Many of you see different things, but we're looking at the same picture, and that's the path we're on, together, united as one. I just love you guys so much. Have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful day, afternoon, evening, and weekend, and I will have a show very soon. God bless you, and have a beautiful day. Aloha.